Hi guys, just a couple of things I wanted to tell you about this week's podcast before we jump into it is, obviously there's going to be a few parts. Uh, First part is me just going over some stuff that's going on here locally, local San Diego lake news, fishing, blah, blah, blah. Then we jump into the juice, and the juice this week is going to be 4 different parts. And we have some special guests that showed up for the juice, and they are going to be giving their opinions on the 3 top lures for 2025 that each of them used, and there's some good ones in there. So stay tuned for that. The juice is super long today, and we'll be ending up with those guys. So that was a lot of fun recording what their favorite lures were this year that worked so well for them. And welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing. Smash that subscribe, pound that like. I'll get it down one of these days. Good morning, good morning, good morning. The imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. So anyway, some of you will know where that's from. Some of you, a lot of you probably won't. But anyway, good morning. Welcome back to San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast, where we are out in the shed today and making A-rigs while we're talking. And if you haven't yet, smash that subscribe, pound that like, please. Smash the subscribe, pound the like. Life is good. Life is good. I got my pup out here, Bodie. He's hanging out in the shed. I'm in the shed. I'm making A-rigs again this morning, trying to catch up on orders that I neglected in this past week. I've still got about 15 to make, so I'm doing that today. And I figured I'd bring you along for the ride. We're going to try to get a guest on here a little bit earlier, or a little bit later. And well, I hope that doesn't pop up on my feed. I'm getting texts here that are uncouth. Anyway, so by the time, what's going on? Ooh, what is going on? We got some tea to spill. We got some tea to spill here. So I kind of, So by the time this video comes out on Tuesday morning, LCAP launch ramp will be closed. Now, a lot of you will be saying, yeah, well, it was already closed. Yes, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The signs will stay the same. The signs state that the launch ramp is closed due to low water conditions, and that float tubes, kayaks, and car toppers are allowed on the boat, or on the lake. That hasn't changed. The problem is, or what's going to happen, is that tonight, on Monday evening, they are going to be setting up, I thought they were going to set up K-rails, but they're not. It's not K-rails. They're going to set up 55-gallon drums along. I don't know if they're going to set it up at the top of the launch ramp or at the water line. I'm assuming they're going to set it up at the water line because they say that you'll still be able to use the launch ramp to launch your kayak, float tube, car topper. No trailers, 0 tolerance, no trailers, done. Why is this? Why is this? Because there was leniency there. Guys were going in, launching their trackers. It's not a secret. 15, 16 footers, 17 footers, aluminums were able to back up, put their trailer in the water a little bit, and launch their 15-foot aluminum. 12-foot Falcos, 14-foot flat bottoms, and it was all cool. They looked the other way. Well, of course that's not going to work because people take advantage of it and started launching fiberglass boats. And it was kind of irritating me. I'm going to tell you, I took the high road on this one. I've been taking the high road on this one. You hear me. You see me in my videos. I've been float tubing out there, having a great time. And I'm watching people launch their fiberglass boats, double axle fiberglass boats, blah, blah, blah. Some of them got turned around. A lot of the bigger ones, a lot of the 21 footers, double axle, whatever, got turned around. And they weren't allowed. They were allowed to launch once, maybe twice, but they turned them around. But they were still allowing like the 18 footers fiberglass boats to go in there. Well, on December 26th, day after Christmas, one of the higher ups of the public utility department showed up and said, "What is going on? Why are there all these big fiberglass boats on here? I thought we weren't launching. We need to do something about it." So this is what they're doing about it. I'm sorry to all the guys that were using their trackers out there and their little aluminums and whatever. No trailers will be launched at CAP from here on out until we get water and the water level comes up. And we're guessing, I was thinking it was going to have to come up 2 feet. Some people are saying it's going to have to come up 5 feet, whatever. You can go ahead and use kayaks, you can go ahead and use float tubes and whatever until that time. But sorry about your aluminums. I was going to buy aluminum and I was like ready to go. I was looking at 14 footers, that had decent trailers on them, something I could slap a trolling motor on, and maybe even a little outboard, whatever, and maybe even take clients out there through this period, because the fishing's, we all know that the fishing is good. It can be good. Actually, kind of took a dump last week, but so yeah, so there you go. You guys just couldn't hold back. You just had to take your fiberglass boats out there and fucking trailer them in. They're all like, "Oh, I can launch that thing. I can go on there and launch." Yeah, I said that. I said that in my podcast. I said, yeah, you can go launch. It's absolutely feasible to launch there in the middle lane. There's 4 lanes. You can launch in the middle lane. It goes way out. They don't want you to. And now you guys with the bigger boats have ruined it for the guys with the smaller boats, with the 14 footers, the 12 footers, the 12-foot aluminums, those guys that had those bitchin' little tiny boat nation kind of boats. Unless they can freaking scoot them off their back of their boat, but I don't even think they're going to allow trailers down to the launch ramp. So I don't know if you could back a trailer up to the edge of the water and try to like scoot it off. Maybe. I mean, I guess that's still considered a car topper, but they got signs posted everywhere now. They got signs posted at the top of the ramp saying that there's no trailers. They've got cones at the top of the ramp. They've got cones at the water. Anyway, so whatever. Hope you guys had your fun. And I don't want to be on the side of the fucking, pardon my French, the PUD. I ain't on their side. I don't want this to happen. But at the same time, people are messing it up for everybody else. Because you knew this was going to happen. We knew if this continued, you guys are putting 21 footers on there, you're putting big ass fiberglass boats on there, we're watching them every day. It's like, it's not what it said. It's not what that sign says up there at the top of the dock. But you did it anyway. So anyway, fucking, it's coming down. The heat's coming down. You guys want to go protest? I'll be first in line. I'll go fucking protest with you. You guys want to go take your trailers and take your bass boats down to City Hall, block people from going to work? Yeah, fuck, right on, let's go do that. It ain't gonna help anything. I don't think it's gonna help anything. You want to go and stop forward progress or whatever. Get the news involved, have the news show up, have a protest at LCAP saying, oh, we can't, you know, put our white wine on the front page of the news that I can't launch my 20-foot fucking fiberglass boat because of political decisions, bad political decisions. It's whatever. I'm getting off the point here. I'm getting off the subject here. So anyway, what else is going on in San Diego bass fishing? We had a tournament since the last time I talked to you. We had National Bass West. Congratulations to JD Blackmore. I was hoping to get him on here, but things didn't work out. We had so JD Blackmore got first, and I think I said this already in the last podcast, and then Craig Taylor, John Bell, they got second. I guess they had good fishing. Craig Taylor has been posting some stuff on his Facebook, on his Instagram stories, and I talked to him yesterday morning at the shop. He stopped in. He has been having great fishing at San Vicente. Did I ask him how he was doing it? No, that's his deal, but he's catching a bunch. There's biting fish on that lake somewhere. A lot of biting fish. He's got a client out there today. Craig Taylor, no quarter guide fishing, or no quarter guides. And I'll try to remember and put his link down in the description down below. You can click on him and use him as a guide, especially right now if you want to go out to San Vicente and catch a bunch of fish, like 20, 30, 40 fish days. It's good. It's good fishing. Second thing on the agenda for San Diego bass fishing, as far as tournaments or whatever goes, there was a turkey shoot. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There was a turkey shoot last weekend on Saturday at Lower Otay. They had 18 boats show up. 18 boats show up, and the fishing was expected to be mediocre. Fair. Otay's not been bad. You can go out there and scratch them up. There's been a few different bites going on at Otay, and if you know, there was 3 of them that were forecasted to bite. Three different things that were forecasted to bite. There was like an ice jig thing going on. There was like a crankbait thing going on. There was crankbaits, as in cranks and rattle traps, chatterbaits. Basically a reaction deal going down. So there was a number of ways of going about and catching them. What happened though was just kind of blew everybody away. It blew me away. So this is my stack of wires here. This is what I've been cutting. This is two 30-foot coils right there, 15 inches. They're 15 inch lengths. So Otay, it was good. It was good in the morning. A lot of people caught fish. It was good fishing in the morning. And good reaction bite. What had happened was it was the day after the storm. So I didn't know how the fish were going to take it. Like, my partner and I were out there. We were a part of the whole thing. Lo and behold, that I don't even know what to say here. Because I don't want to blow it up. It's brand new. It's brand new fish. I'm not going to blow it up. You know what? You guys are going to have to tune in like next week or something, and I'll tell you, because I'm going to go out there tomorrow or Wednesday. Oh, wait a minute. What is today? Anyway, no, I'm going to go out there. Oh, today's Monday. So yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. I'm going to go out there Wednesday. I don't want to blow it up, so I'm not going to blow it up. But the winners caught their fish scoping in kind of in deeper water, and they weighed in 18 pounds. First place was 18 and a half pounds. They had a 7-pounder. Congratulations to Aaron Christ and Cody Christ, his son. They both have been on the podcast a number of times, several times. Cody is doing very well in his professional bass fishing ventures. He did really great at the U.S. Open. I want to say he did he finish just outside the top 10, or was he 7th? Anyway, he was like 7th after the first day. I think he ended up in 12th overall at the U.S. Open. But so Cody was there. They took first place, 18 and a half pounds. Cody caught a 7.5 pounder, 7.5 pounder out of Otay. Hell of a fish, beautiful fish. And then Logan Hallwater was in second place with 18. He was only like 3/10 of a pound away. He was like 18 point. I don't have the list here, but he had an 18-pound bag. There was a handful of like 14-pound bags, and there was some really bitchin' fish. It was like fishing a different lake. My partner and I caught a bunch of fish, but we had like 11.5 pounds. Like we didn't do very well. But there was a number of guys that did. So pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to get back out there to Otay on Wednesday. So we have another storm coming in. We got about 2 inches out of this past storm, which literally did nothing for LCAP. They're dumping water into lower Otay as we speak, and but not a lot. It's coming up, but it's coming up gradually, but it is coming up. So the water level at lower Otay is on the rise. The water at San Vicente level is on the rise. They're putting water into San Vicente, but San Vicente's sporadic. Like they'll dump some water in and then shut it off, and then they'll dump some water in and then shut it off. So there's been no real consistent rise to San Vicente, but that is also coming up slowly. CAP will only come up with rain. They will not put water into LCAP. So we're praying for rain, because overall still, I would say that, I don't know, Otay fished really good the other day, and CAP took a dump. CAP was fishing really, really good up until about a week ago. And then it just, I think right before the storm, they took some water out. I watched it. It came down 6-8 inches. The fish pulled off the bank. I'm talking about LCAP. The fish pulled off the bank, and they quit biting. Like they just quit biting. They quit busting. I'm not blaming that on the lower water, but the fish that were on the bank that we were catching shallow, especially like super early in the morning, I was having some great mornings in the first hour, and that all dried up. That's all gone. And so anyway, right now, definitely Otay is fishing the best out of the big three. So a lot of numbers at San Vicente, good Otay fishing. For even some good grade at Otay. There's still busters at Otay, which is, it was 63 degrees. Now there is a storm coming, and it's supposed to hit here on Wednesday afternoon. Excuse me. It's supposed to hit here Wednesday afternoon and go for like a week. We're gonna get like 6 days of rain. It doesn't look like crazy amounts of rain, but it looks like half an inch a day, a quarter to a half an inch a day, but it's going to last for like 6 days. So maybe that will do something for CAP. I don't know. I'm not counting on it. CAP is closed this Friday. If you guys were going to planning on going out there with your float tubes, kayak, or car topper, CAP is closed this Friday on January 2nd, because it's the first Friday of the month. CAP is always closed the first Friday of the month. The county, Friends of the Lakes continues to talk about the county taking over LCAP. The county, they have won this county is going forward with it. The votes are in place. But that's still, that's a work in progress. That's a long ways away. What else do we have here? Oh, so on January 20th, put it on your calendar. I'm gonna have to check that. But we have, it's on a Tuesday night. I don't know if it's is that the 20th or the 21st? I don't have my calendar here in front of me. It's on, we are going to have Matt Lucero from the DFW, Department of Fish and Wildlife. Speaking of which, I need something else to tell you about the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So don't let me forget. Matt Lucero is going to be doing a public seminar. Everybody's invited. Everybody's invited. Is going to be at the La Mesa Adult Enrichment Center, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Might change to 6:30, but I think it starts at 6 o'clock. This is co-sponsored with Friends of the Lakes, Friends of the San Diego Lakes, Tom Lowry, Rob McGargle, those guys, and the San Diego Bassmasters are putting this on under their sponsorships. So they're bringing in Matt Lucero, public speaking seminar, questions and answers, and this is concerning the biology of the lakes, not necessarily the politics of the lakes. So if you want to go there, you have any questions about what's going on with the fish populations, I guess maybe water levels, or what could happen with the water levels, or how the lower water levels affect bass fishing, any types of species questions. He's really up on bait fish populations, that kind of thing. His big swing, I know this for one thing, Matt's big swing, his talking points are keeping bass now. So he will definitely be talking about San Vicente, too many small fish, and how the populations were controlled differently back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, maybe even early 90s, and how people kept fish. And people don't keep fish now, so the lake is actually overpopulated with 12 to 14-inch fish, 10 to 14-inch fish at LCAP, or actually all the lakes, but especially San Vicente. So we're going to listen to how that is going to play out, or what he thinks we should do concerning population control, smaller fish at San Vicente. And it's basically keeping your limit. You're going to keep your limit. He wants you to start keeping limits of bass. I could care less. Whatever. It's this or that. It could be a good thing. I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I'm all for bigger fish, even if we get less bites. So, but that'll be interesting. That'll be one of the great topics that he's going to come up with. Matt Lucero's super good guy. Answers my emails when I email him. Answers my questions, my silly questions that I have concerning the lakes, my ignorant stuff. So I can't say enough about that. I'm super happy about having him come out and work with us. Yeah. So this is like step one. Actually, step one's like cutting the wire for these A-rigs, like cutting the wire. And then step two, put a swivel on there, and then crimp it down. You'll notice that it's not done, obviously. So you get these wire forms, and then you go from there. But I build a bunch of wire forms, so I'll build about 15 of these or 20. Actually, I'll build them until I run out of wire here. So, what else is going on here in the world of San Diego bass fishing? This week's Juice is brought to you by the Friends of the San Diego Lakes. If you're not following them, please do on their Facebook and Instagram pages. They're doing a lot of good for our lakes, so please follow and support them. Thanks. Of our top 3 lures of 2025, we have Mike Panarese, General Manager of
East County Bait and Tackle.
There you go.
Yep.
What do you got for us, Mike?
All right, top lures for 2025 for myself would be, can't go wrong with the good old Ica. Very versatile, good Texas rig it, fish it weightless.
Yeah.
Another one for me, good old chatterbait. Can't go wrong with the jackhammer from Z-Band. So I like the Stealth Blade one. It has a little bit more, less vibration, smaller blade on it. So and I always pair that up with the good old missile bait, Spunk Shed. So can't go wrong with those two combos. Nice. Another good bait for me for this year was actually like a swim bait, the good old Glideway. So what kind of tackle are you fishing on that with that Glideway? I use like 16 to 20 pound fluoro for this.
Straight fluoro?
Straight fluoro.
How long of a rod?
I use a 7.5 foot rod. Yeah, medium heavy swim bait rod.
And a gear ratio on the reel?
Gear ratio, I tend to do a little slower than most people. I do a 6.2 to 1. So,
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just kind of slow glide that thing.
And so, do you like the bigger Glideway or the smaller one, or?
I do both sides. There's a 126 and then the 176 is good. So 126 is more bite size, so you get a lot more bites. Not as big fish, unfortunately, but. And
you even caught trout on that, right?
Yep, I have.
In the Sierras?
Yep.
Nice.
So it's a good versatile bait.
All right.
So those are my top 25 for 2025, or top lures for 2025.
Yeah.
So.
All right, cool. Very good. Yeah. All right, for our next guest, Trevor Lopez, working at East County Bait and Tackle. I got these guys hostages today. So what's your top 3 2025 lures?
So for number 1, my top 3, I'm probably going to have to go with the 3-inch Cinco.
A 3-inch?
3-inch.
Now, not many people fish a 3-inch.
When the bite's tough, like it is out here with all the pressure you get, shore angling and boat angling, you got to downsize. The big fish will eat it just the same. Caught plenty of fish in that 3 to 5 pound range this year on this size bait. So, yeah, just weightless in the toolies, getting bit.
That's awesome. Let me, I'm going to come around there. I'm going to join you here. So, here, sit down. You sit down. You're tall.
You're tall.
That's all right. There you go. Now we can see you. So, so not many people fish a 3-inch. So how do you fish a 3-inch Cinco?
So I'm just fishing it on like maybe like a light casting rod or maybe just like a medium heavy spinning rod. Just flick it into the toolies, kind of let it fall along the edge of the grass line maybe, or if you see like a tree or something, you can kind of cast it in the middle. Weedless, weightless, just kind of.
What hook are you using?
Use like a size 4 owner hook. So they're pretty small, so it only goes to about maybe like a third of the bait, about that far.
Give me what hook? Like a cover shot, extra wide gap?
No, I think it's just a standard worm hook, just a very small one made by owner, just like your standard stuff. Yeah, nothing too fancy. Just the bait kind of does its own thing, kind of on the way down, you get bit.
All right.
So that's number 1. Number 2, probably gonna have to go with a 110 junior of some fashion, a +1 or a normal. The +1 got me a lot more bites than the normal, but the normal does get bit just the same, I think, depending on your area. So long as you're fishing from the shore, you might not be able to reach too deep of water. So the normal one kind of keep you in that zone that you're getting in. So you're not hanging up too often.
So you like that color?
Yeah, this is a good color here. I believe, yeah, this is French Pearl. And I believe this one is Stain Reaction.
Yeah, that Stain Reaction's pretty hot.
Yeah, with the red eye. This one's got a normal gold eye.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's kind of what I like. I like to fish reaction baits, maybe on like a 6'8" or 7-foot medium rod, moderate action, and just rip that thing around the bank.
I love this next one.
And then the last one that did me well all year, the 4-inch mini lizard made by Zoom. Same thing as a Cinco, you can go weightless. You could put a little tiny weight in the front. You could go with a little tungsten bullet weight, or you could go with lead, maybe black or green pumpkin if you can find those. We have a couple in store if you were to come in. Be happy to show you the hook I would use too for all these things. But yeah, with this one, you could use similar hook, maybe one size bigger than that you would use on the 3-inch Cinco. And then yeah, fish it around the toolies. You'll get those fish that.
And that's a lot of, that's Texas rigging.
100%, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then.
Texas rig lizard.
Yeah.
So where are you fishing?
For these kind of things, mostly in the river, and then I fish a good amount at Loveland, and then Murray and Santee.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. But so you fish a lot in the San Diego River.
Yeah, yeah. I like the river. If you can get shore access, you know it's pretty good stuff down there. There's giant fish in there. Those fish don't really have like true forage, not like some of these lakes where there's big balls of shad. So they'll eat a real lizard in real life. So this is not out of the question for them to eat once it gets down to the bottom.
San Diego River is one thing that we haven't talked about on the podcast. And honestly, I don't really want to talk about it on the podcast. But if you want to spend your time and go down there and fish it, it's pretty darn good fishing. It's big. The fish are big. There's not a whole lot of them, but it can be really good.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but you're going to have to explore it and find the access points and find which ponds, because there's like 20 ponds.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, and there's a lot of homeless down there and whatever, so you got to be careful. So,
Got to be careful.
Anyway, but he's caught them.
Oh yeah.
With the lizard.
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And so, just to recap, I wanted to touch on the hooks that Trevor was using for his 3-inch Cincos and his 4-inch lizards. But we have offset worm hook number 1 and the J hook owner in size 4. So those are the 2 hooks that Trevor was using. We were talking about that, so we just wanted to throw that in there. All right, we got victim number 3 here that I'm holding hostage at East County Bait and Tackle. Andy Polachek, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And what are your top 3 lures for 2025?
My top 3 kind of has a JDM flair to it. There was a lot of breaking fish this year, still is happening at Otay, and the guys that are making it out to LCAP. So something that we like to throw at them is the jig para, the major craft jig para. This happens to be a 7 gram, which is our favorite size to throw. We throw it on braid to fluorocarbon line, like 10-pound braid to 6 or 7 pound leader. You can fish it in all different areas of the water column depending on how much you want to let it sink. So great for chasing, busting fish, very finessey. It's a killer bait. So that was.
So one question I have for you with the jig para is how long is your leader?
On the leader, I like to keep my leader about the length of my rod, just for the knot reason and for the transparency.
Okay.
So that would be my number 3 bait. Number 2 bait, this year I did a lot of free rigging.
There it is.
So the OSP Do Live Beaver comes in several sizes, 3-inch, 3.5 inch, 4.5 inch. Free rigged it with Matt Luna's Essentials free rig weights, anywhere from an 1/8 if you're fishing real shallow to 3/16 quarter, 3/8 when we get real deep out there at San V. So I did a lot of free rigging this year with this beaver and was very successful doing that this season. But my top bait for the season, which should come as no surprise, is the depth Sakamata shad. Holding the new 4.5 inch size right here. Man, we can't keep them on the shelves. They are the bait when it comes to strolling, mid-strolling, and suspended fish, chasing them with your forward-facing sonar. I would like to throw them on the range roller heads, depending on where they are in the column, determines what size weight you're going to use. But this bait has been killer for suspended fish out there on your forward-facing sonar. Second to none. So
can you, what kind of tackle are you using? You know, I know that's on the end of your line, but what kind of leader are you using? Do you use a loop knot?
We were just talking about this morning, about using loop knots and cinching knots and using that free play. Trevor and I were talking about that this morning, and some guys are doing that where they're not cinching it down real tight, and they're letting the hook set cinch the hook down for free play. Makes me a little nervous. I'm pretty archaic when it comes to knots, so I just tie a standard Palomar knot onto that for me. That's what works for me.
And
so.
What pound test are you using?
For this, it's light. We're using like anywhere from 5 to 7 pound tests.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the smaller Sakamatas, for the 4.5 inch.
Okay. And your spinning rod?
Spinning rod.
Yeah.
Loaded with 10-pound braid to like 6-pound leader.
Do you have a specific spinning rod that you use? Do you use like a shorter one or a longer one, or What do you use?
I'm not an expert at it by any means, but you want something with a solid tip. A little bit shorter in the 6'10" to 7 foot range. I wouldn't go much longer than that.
Yeah.
Jackson likes to use a little bit longer rod, but he does everything a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
Jake was saying the same thing.
yeah,
When I interviewed him, which was a while ago, but he said 7.2, get
Yeah.
away from that 6'10.
yeah. You see a lot of guys using the shorter rod, the 6'10" solid tip rod. Is kind of like by the books what you're supposed to use, but everyone's got a different
Yeah.
preference.
All right.
So
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
all right, take care.
There he is. Do you get me?
Yeah,
You look good.
good.
Yeah. So here, hold on. Let me turn my heater off. I'm out here in the shed making A-rigs. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good. Starting, just trying to get active. I'm bored to death. Can't get around, but
Yeah.
I got me an old office chair with wheels on it. I can get out in the garage, get the table set up, and I can get around and get my stuff. Start cleaning reels and
So for everybody out there that doesn't know what's going on, Jim has had his, I don't know, your foot reconstructed.
yeah, my left foot.
Your left foot reconstructed. That's why he hasn't been out on the lakes here lately.
Yeah, I could blame it on San Vicente.
Gonna start a lawsuit.
Oh,
Sue the PUD for keeping it too low of a level and the launch ramp too long.
oh man, boy, there's a lot of good guys though. I get rides up. I don't have any problem getting a ride up the ramp.
Well, see, that's the other thing. They could solve that problem if they just kept that golf cart fixed.
Huh. Oh yeah, they had a change of personnel working up there, and for the last year or so, I was on speed dial. I get down to the bottom, and I'd always give them $3-5 or something, and they'd come get me, no problem.
Yeah.
And then, they start opening the lake at 5:30, something like that. Well, they didn't have anyone up there in the concession stand until like 6:30, sometimes 7 o'clock. And a lot, that Iron Ranger didn't work real well.
No.
And they didn't have a place where you could just fill out an envelope and drop an envelope in and go.
Right.
So that was a big pain. And then, unless they had something going on, they'd shut down at 2:30, 3 o'clock. There would be no one there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
And you're all hardcore, and you stay until they close at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the summer.
Yeah, you don't know how many times I fished that point, leaving the marina, just waiting for another boat to come in so I could bum a ride up.
Well, that was smart of you to do that. Anyway, so okay, so why I have you on today, other than being an excellent fisherman of San Diego of long time standing, what is the topic of today? And you can be as vague as you want, I guess, or whatever. What are your top 3 lures of 2025? Since we're coming to an end here, what'd you fish with this year? What'd you catch on? What's your favorite thing to fish this year?
Well, I don't get off the trailer, and I have a free rig do live beaver on. And I like the 4-inch one. I know a lot of guys like the 3, the 3.5. I played a little bit around with the 3-inch one on a free rig at Vicente when things were a little tougher. And I got bit, but I almost got just bit as well on the 4-inch. But you go through some baits that way.
Yeah.
And then at Cap, I was using the 4-inch and also throwing a G-Crack bunny hog. It's a bigger craw-bait. They make
I like how you're telling us that now, that you're fishing a bunny hog, because you've been fishing it for several years. Why are you being specific about that?
Well, Well, I mean, most people won't fish it, so I guess I could just.
Because you can't get a hold of them.
Oh, you can't get a hold of them now, but even when I was showing people the bait and stuff, most of them didn't believe me or didn't fish it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's a big bait. It's a big bait. The 6 inch is a very big bait, but it produces some good bites.
That's what you. So isn't that what you won with on at the LCAP night tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that Bunny Hog?
that was fun. Yeah, back to
Yeah.
back, 8 and a 7. So
I love that story. That's a really good podcast.
so I throw that. A lot of stuff I throw on the free rig. I don't remember throwing a Texas rig much at all this year. I did a little bit with like a 1/8 ounce bullet weight, and another bait I always have tied on is the thinny, is a thin Cinco. You know, I'll sometimes Texas rig it, but the majority of the time on the thin Cincos, I'm throwing it weightless.
Mm-hmm.
Either Texas rigged, or I'll put a band on it, or one of those. They got a name for another little deal that goes through it. Helps hold the hook on. You don't go through them quite as fast.
Yeah.
But that bait, you can fish it, suspended fish in 60 foot of water, or throw it up in the brush, you know, in 2 foot of water.
Right.
It fishes well and gets
Right.
bit.
So your free rig would be your first one, and then your second would be a thin Cinco.
Yes. Yeah, those two. And I don't get too fancy. It's usually green pumpkin, black flake. I mean, that's what I throw. I've caught them on the baby bass. I've caught them on natural shad. But if I can't get bit, I put on the green pumpkin, black flake, and if they don't bite that, then I figure they're not biting. So after that, I throw a rock crawler crankbait.
There you go.
I throw it quite a bit, and it works. I was looking at my box the other day. In fact, I talked to Bruce about it. I don't have too many of those in any kind of a bait fish pattern. Most of my rock crawlers and stuff are, you know, from a bright red crawdad to a green translucent crawdad. But everything's basically a crawdad pattern.
Yeah.
God, they fish good in rock. They fish good everywhere.
That's a good crankbait. It's one of the best on the market, in my opinion, at this point in time.
But with
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to move on, but the rock crawler, and I'll throw a Karachi too on the breakers, or even just going down the bank. That small.
Yeah. That was really a standout bait for a lot of people, me included. And there was some days like, you know, you and I had that day out there at Otay where if you didn't have one tied on, you weren't getting bites.
Oh, I know.
We threw minnows, we threw all sorts of stuff, and you tied on that Karachi, and it was like one after another, and I still couldn't get a bite until I tied a Karachi on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a real thing.
And that wasn't the ideal place to throw it.
where was that at?
Well, up there in the back of Harvey's.
In 1 foot of water?
Yeah.
You'd see them make a wake towards it.
Oh yeah, that was fun. And what's crazy about that bait? I mean, obviously it's easier to fish with a little lighter line, but I think we were fishing with 12.
Yeah.
And because it casts good, even with a little heavier line. So.
Yeah. I think Rob McGargle just posted that he was fishing them with 14.
Yeah.
A short leader, you know, of 14.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah. As long as you have like a loop knot or something, I think tied on there. Although with that lighter line, that's that 8 pound or even 10 pound, I just tied it straight direct. I didn't have a split ring or loop knot or nothing.
No, I've tried it with a split ring, and I've tried it uh, tied direct, and there's not much difference. You, I play with my kids' swimming pool, and it does sink a little different with a split ring. Not enough, because I fish it fast enough. I don't think it makes much difference.
Yeah.
But then back to the free rigs. I throw a 9-inch Uptons on it also, a 3/8 weight and a 4/0 hook.
So I think that's something that a lot of people don't do is they think of a free rig, they think of like a 6-inch worm or a small little creature bait or whatever, but you and several other people have gone totally opposite and have been fishing these San Diego style 9-inch, 10-inch worms with a big weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like a bigger weight. Majority of the time when I fish my free rigs, a quarter is the smallest usually I go unless I'm finessing along the bank or something. But usually it's 3/8, and my feeling is you get more separation on the fall with a
Okay.
heavier weight.
Yeah.
So then you get that whole from the time the weight hits the bottom till your plastic finally makes it down. You got more time, and that free rig fishes very well that way. And
Mhm.
a lot of times, I'll lift it way up off the bottom and drop it.
Okay.
And sometimes, sometimes you ready to pick it up and they're on it because you don't even feel it. They've grabbed it and away they go.
Yeah.
But the 9-inch Uptons has been a good worm for me. And I like I think they call it a Diamond Valley Craw or something like that. But there's also one that's it's a dark chocolate with a red flake. I can't remember what they call it.
A liver.
Yes, yeah.
Liver.
And
Yeah.
I've done well on it also.
Not afraid about talking about those because they're so hard to get a hold of.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's even at the shop, at East County Bait and Tackle, we only get 2 orders a year. It seems like because he's just doing his own thing. Josh is just up there. He's pouring worms, but half of them go to Japan.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You think everything coming here from Japan now? They're sending stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah. He sends a crazy amount of worms over there. They love them.
Yeah, a free rig. I don't know when things are tough. A lot of times everyone's going smaller. I've had luck just going to a bigger worm and going a little deeper. And
Okay.
at Vicinity it doesn't seem to matter this year because they're all, a pound 7 ounces or something.
And those little ones, they even bit that big worm, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did.
They had no problem eating a 9-inch worm, a 2 pound bass eating a 9-inch worm.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all. So, and then later in the summer, if we get some of the days that aren't too windy, I'll throw a number 11 or number 13 Rapala.
Oh my God.
Over the top of the trees.
I can't believe you're talking about that. That's what Zoe caught her PB on. Was it Zoe? I think it was Zoe. She caught like a 9 something on that. Dennis Colander talks about that. Very hushed tones. He doesn't tell anybody. But yeah. That was so did you fish a 13 or an 18 or some great big one, right?
Yeah, I had an 18. I don't get many bites on it. And it's got to be just flat, and I'll fish it over the top of rocks in 25, 30 foot of water.
Oh, really? And they'll come all the way up for it.
Oh yeah, if at Vicente where it's real clean, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Years ago, I heard a guy talking about going out in the middle of his lake and throwing these big topwater baits out there, and I'd never tried it. And the first time I went to Vicente and tried it, and it worked. You know, I've never got any big fish on it. I got some fours on it, some fives, but it shocks you because it just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, bang.
Yeah.
But I really haven't tried it much with the forward facing. That's gonna
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna make a difference. That's interesting. I was just thinking about that. That's interesting.
So that's another thing is too, and I'm kind of getting off topic here, but how old are you?
I'm 74.
So you're 74 years old, and I'm going to say most 74-year-old guys out there are like not, they don't like forward facing sonar. Am I correct in that?
I don't know. That's what you hear a lot of the old school guys, but
Yeah, like but you are different, and in fact that you love it.
I think it's great. I mean, how much fun is that, you know? And you're only as good with it as the time you spend on it.
Right.
And the more you see the fish doing, and you think back of some of the techniques and stuff you've used before, and you can kind of add that to that whole mix. I think, yeah. No,
It's fun watching them swim up and eat the bait
yeah.
when they do.
And it's frustrating when they swim up and just spit at it, you know.
Oh my gosh.
They come flying up.
I think that's where it really messes up a lot of the guys that aren't used to it, is that they never realized that even in the past, before they had forward facing, that how many fish came up and looked at their bait, and they just didn't know it. So they just kept going.
Yeah.
And now they see it happen and they get super frustrated. It really messes with their head instead of just keep fishing.
The thing that's frustrating for me is I don't know how else to say it. My skills are diminishing as far as casting accuracy and that, you know. Like for Christmas, I'm getting the arrow, the solid gear arrow for my Ghost. So the arrow on top of the Ghost is not on a magnet, you know, so it's going to be a positive.
Yeah.
That's going to help, but I still have to cast straight.
You have to get that distance down, and you have to get in that little narrow cone.
I don't know how many thinnies I've thrown over my back fence trying to figure where 40 foot was, you know. But man, I really give it to the boys, you know, all the youngsters and the older guys that have really taken it to heart, because they spend the time doing it and they got it dialed. When they can look at their screen and just pitch underhand, not even looking up which way their motor's facing, they know by where their foot control is, where they're at. You know, it's another tool. But right now it's fun. It's new, and I like it.
Yeah. I get a kick out of it. I mean, it's you have to use it if you're gonna place. If you're gonna do well in tournaments, you know, it's part of the game now. It's just what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you know those guys that still just go out there and just, I mean, granted, there are a few exceptions. Here, especially in San Diego, there's a few guys that still don't have it, and they still do really well.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're just very, very good fishermen on these San Diego lakes. So, but for most of us,
I think where it'd be a big help is when you're on basically a new body of water. These lakes, if you spend any time on them, you can take your whole day up. If you're looking for long points with a rock on the end of it, you can go from a spot you know to a spot you know to a spot you know.
right?
you'll finally run into them. Well,
Right.
this one you can go on and you can look at it, make a couple casts, you can either see fish are not there, or they're not reacting, or how they're reacting, and move on.
Yeah.
But if you were in a new lake, I think that would help you find some different stuff.
Right. Right.
Because a lot of the charts and stuff don't show the little rock piles that are a little hard spot, out on the end of the point.
Yeah.
This would find it.
Right.
So I think that kind of covers it. I played around with some of the other minnow baits and stuff. I'm getting better with a minnow bait, but not to where I want to be yet. I don't know if I'll ever get where I want to be. I guess that's when you quit fishing. But
Well, I found that it's a learning process, just like anything. And I've done some experimenting this year, and it's really helped me out a lot with the size of minnows and the size of heads and the size of hooks and tying a loop knot and knowing how fast they sink and what exactly I'm looking for and retrieves and watching how fish react to certain retrieves. So the other day, we were out at Otay. Brandon and I were in the boat, and I had started doing this the trip before. And I would see the fish. I'd see the fish in the grass, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 of them, like kind of in the grass. You could see them kind of flashing or brighter. Or they swim around. And I'd cast that minnow over the top of them, and I would have to work it slow over the top of them to get them to come up to the bait, to come out of the grass and start following it. But then as they followed it, I had to work it faster to get them to commit. Like if I just worked it slow the whole way to the boat, they just followed it. They just followed it kind of, and then they just kind of sunk out. But if I could get them to come up and look at it and then work it faster, and not like immediately faster. It had to be like on a gradual speed up. Like I was like accelerating. And eventually, as I was accelerating, they either committed or they didn't commit at all. Obviously, I mean, obviously it didn't work every time because fish are fish, but they never ate it if it just stayed the same speed. They'd come up and look, but they wouldn't eat it. They wouldn't commit. You had to fish faster. It had to go away faster from them.
well, like I said, I'm not an expert at all on the minnow, but I found I get more bites if I get a fish behind my minnow, if I either speed it up or keep it going, because as soon as I stop it or slow it down, it doesn't seem to do the deal.
Oh, they go away right away.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Dennis, I've fished with Dennis a few times now, and he's watched the whole thing go down, and I'm all look, there's a fish, and I'd keep the minnow going, and the fish would turn away. He's all, well, why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you drop it in front of him? I'm like, man, that's exactly what they don't want.
Yeah.
That's what bait does not do. Shad does not just stop and drop. They always run faster away from the fish. They're trying to get away from them. So that's what you got to do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big learning experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting to get on the lake when you get to do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to get back out to Otay on Wednesday.
Well, I think I got about 3 more weeks.
Do ya?
I hope. Yeah, yeah, about 3 weeks. I hope I can start getting around.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as soon as you start getting around, you always got a spot in my boat.
Oh, I know.
Meet,
I appreciate
meet me at the
that.
lake, and we'll go fishing, and I'll put a seat in the back, and we'll go catch them.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, man. I'm going to let you go. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Talk to you later.
Bye.